Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive into human-centered design, or, HCD.
Right.
And I think for a lot of people, if you hear that phrase, you immediately picture, what, endless Post-it notes.
To companies, yeah. Big whiteboards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you're missing the bigger picture. Based on the source material we analyzed, HCD is, well, it's so much more than a tool for product teams.
It's a philosophy, really.
Yeah, a practical philosophy for improving life itself.
Hmm.
We're talking about everything from a broken weekly team meeting to, like, setting up a household routine that actually works with your energy.
And that's the key distinction, right? We have to remember what we're pushing back against.
The old way of doing things.
For centuries, especially, coming out of the industrial age, systems were designed around efficiency, scale, control.
The machine came first.
The machine came
Yeah.
first. And if a person had trouble with it or with a form or a procedure, well, the failure was always on the person.
Right. You were the problem, you were clumsy, or you weren't trained properly.
The assumption was the system is perfect, the user is flawed.
A complete reversal of that is what HCD is about.
A complete paradigm reversal. Yeah. The sources trace this back to the mid-20th century. Ergonomics, cognitive psychology. They started asking this really radical question.
Which was?
What if we stopped trying to force humans to adapt to our systems and instead design the systems to fit actual human behavior?
That shift is it's profound. And that's our mission today, really. We want to extract that HCD mindset, that intentional practice that you can apply to your life, to your career right now.
And what's so fascinating is that it's not just a method for building an app. It is a fundamental reframing of how we solve problems, period. It just respects human complexity.
And the interesting thing is, most of us already do this. Instinctively, anyway. We just don't have a name for it.
Oh, for sure.
Like if you keep forgetting your lunch, you move your lunch bag next to your keys, that's a tiny HCD intervention.
Exactly, but it's reactive. HCD makes that instinct a deliberate, repeatable practice.
Who formalizes it?
It formalizes it. The sources define it as a mindset that starts with empathy and ends with learning. You have to begin with people, with their actual context, not with a solution you've already dreamed up.
Okay, so if we want to be more deliberate about this, where do we start? Say I have a problem, like my team meetings are a total waste of time. What are the foundational questions to ask?
Right. Before you jump to a fix, you have to define the problem. The sources lay out 3 foundational questions. They act like a diagnostic phase.
Lay them out for us.
1, what is really happening? And that means you have to observe, not just listen to complaints.
Okay.
2, who is being affected? You have to center the human. And 3, what is preventing progress right now?
That third one, that's key because it immediately points to friction. It points to the system, not the person.
Exactly. Your first assumption might be, my team is procrastinating.
Sure, that's the easy answer.
But that HCD question, what is preventing progress? It forces you to look deeper. Maybe the software is clunky. Maybe the template is confusing. It encourages curiosity instead of blame.
It's a framework built for learning. And this really became a global framework in the 90s, right? That's when it blew up.
Correct. That's when firms like IDEO really formalized that repeatable loop of empathy, rapid prototyping, and testing. And that's when HCD expanded beyond, just user interfaces into huge things like education, healthcare, organizational change.
Okay, so that's the mindset. Let's get into the actionable rules. What are the core principles that really anchor HCD? The things that apply just as much to your life as to a huge project.
There are 4 pillars. The first and the most famous is empathy.
Right.
But we have to be clear, HCD empathy isn't like sniffy. It's not about feeling sorry for someone.
It's more operational than that.
It is. It's about a deep functional understanding. It means you prioritize observing what people do over just listening to what they say they do.
That's a critical distinction. It's so easy to just ask, what do you want? And get a simple answer.
Exactly. HCD says no, go watch them struggle. See what workarounds they've invented. You have to understand the why behind their behavior.
And this leads right into the second principle, which is collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
He can't be the lone genius designer, right?
Never. The best solutions always emerge when you have diverse perspectives in the room. It's about shared ownership.
Yeah.
You don't design for your team, you design with your team. That way they own the solution with you.
Okay, now let's talk about the third one, because I think this is where people get nervous.
Yeah.
It's iteration.
Iteration is absolutely fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so fascinating is how it totally reframes the concept of failure.
How so?
In HCD, your ideas aren't final answers, they're just hypotheses. The whole point is to build something fast, a prototype, and test it early.
So you learn before you've invested too much time or money.
You learn before the resources are gone. But I get your point. If you're under budget pressure, how do you sell that?
Yeah, how do I convince my boss that failing fast is a good thing?
You focus on the cost of learning. You learn so much more from a 10-minute paper sketch that you throw away than you do from 6 months of development based on a bad assumption.
So a quick failure isn't a failure in the classic sense. It's just efficiently acquired data.
It's the most valuable thing you can get. Which brings us to the last principle, creative problem framing.
Meaning?
Meaning, you have to ask, are we even solving the right problem in the first place?
So you step back from, how do we fix this?
Way back. To ask, is this even the core issue? For instance, a company tries to increase compliance with safety rules with more training, more signs.
The usual stuff.
The usual stuff. But an HCD approach might reframe the problem to, why is our safety process too complicated to use in a high-pressure moment? Suddenly you see the problem isn't compliance, it's the design of the process itself.
Okay, that makes so much sense. And here's where it gets really interesting. Let's connect this to the practical stuff. The use cases, professional and personal.
Right, let's start big. With the corporate giants, they give us really visible examples.
I mean, our sources are full of them. Airbnb, Netflix, Spotify. They are constantly using empathy-driven research and rapid A/B testing.
For Netflix, it's even about which thumbnail image makes you more likely to click. They are minimizing the friction of choice.
And it goes way beyond just the product interface now. Companies are using HCD for internal things, organizational change, job design.
Absolutely. Reducing internal friction, which leads to better engagement and, frankly, less burnout.
The sources also point to some really high-stakes applications. I think for our audience, it's worth talking about how HCD is used in, say, finance or artificial intelligence.
It's essential there. When you're building powerful tools like AI, you have to use HCD to ensure they're fair. By involving diverse users in the testing phases, you can systematically find biases in the data or the logic.
So you can test, for example, an AI loan approval system with different demographic profiles.
And see if the algorithm is having a disparate impact, even if it wasn't intentional. It's a tool for transparency. It ensures accountability is built into the system itself, not left up to the end user.
That's huge. But this methodology, it becomes maybe even more powerful when we bring it down to the personal level.
I think so. Because your home, your own routines, that's the perfect low-stakes environment to build these habits.
Your personal training ground.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful things you can do is just start noticing your own workarounds.
Oh, we all have a million of those. The sticky notes everywhere.
We do. But a workaround is a massive signal that the system is broken. That sticky note on your monitor is a symptom of a design failure that you, the user, are having to compensate for.
So my messy kitchen drawer that I keep meaning to fix, that's a design failure, not a moral failure on my part.
Exactly. You're observing a friction point. It's an opportunity.
Okay, another personal application the sources mention is self-empathy. How does that work?
It just means you turn the HCD lens on yourself. You approach yourself with curiosity, not judgment.
So instead of, I should be more disciplined.
You ask, what system am I using that violates my natural energy cycle? You observe your own stress points, your motivations. You reveal what actually needs a redesign, instead of just treating the symptom of, say, being disorganized.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. I was trying to get better about laundry. I had this beautiful, sleek hamper system, looked great. But on a Tuesday when I was tired, I realized I just didn't have the energy to lift the heavy lid and sort everything.
You designed a system for your ideal energetic self, not your actual self.
Precisely. So I redesigned it. 2 lightweight, open bins right next to the machine, no friction. And suddenly, the system worked.
That's a great example.
And it gets to this idea of role-centered thinking. Instead of seeing people as just users, HCD reminds us to see their full context.
The person using my new workflow is also a parent, a student, a caregiver.
And if you acknowledge that complexity, you design more humane, more realistic solutions that don't shatter under real-world pressure.
Okay, that's a perfect bridge to the action plan. Let's give you a simple, practical 3-step loop you can start using today for literal any personal challenge.
This is the actionable framework we pulled out.
Step 1 is clarify. Lead with empathy. For yourself, maybe slow down and really understand the problem, not just the symptom. And you have to question your own assumptions before you jump to a solution.
Then step 2 is develop. The goal here is just learning, not perfection. Generate ideas, test them in low-risk ways, sketch it out, rearrange your desk, try a small change for 1 week. The point is rapid learning, not months of planning.
And finally, step 3 is refine.
You just gather feedback from your little experiment and you adjust. Life changes, so your solutions have to evolve.
And if the first try didn't work, that's not a failure.
Not at all. It's progress. That's the critical insight. Iteration is progress. You're making small, data-driven adjustments instead of taking a massive leap of faith.
So what does this all mean? Human-centered design. It really moves beyond being a professional tool. It becomes a way to inject respect into our routines, respecting people's time and energy, including your own. It's a practical method for just smoothing out the friction in life, making it feel more intentional and, I don't know, less chaotic.
It really is. This approach gives you a way to design a life and a career that feels more intentional, more humane, and way more resilient. So the question for you to explore is this. What part of your daily routine, at home or at work, is relying on a constant workaround? That sticky note, that shortcut, shouldn't be necessary. And how could you apply these 3 simple steps, clarify, develop, and refine, to create a truly human-centered solution for yourself starting this week? That's your next step.